Hey, what's up, bitches? It's your boy Nails here with another stellar book review. Okay, so The Drifter by Nick Petrie is a 2015 thriller, crime type thriller with some really good action, and because it's like slow burn, tension, build up in a contemporary setting. So let me talk about this for a bit. I'll tell you right now, I'll give it a 9 out of 10, but I don't know how that'll hold up to people who have read a lot of books like this before. I have not. I've only read maybe 5. And this I probably shouldn't have started with because I'm spoiled on it because it was good. And this clearly, or so I'm told, and when I can easily imagine, has a lot of inspirations, a lot of other authors that have been around a lot longer than Petrie have said good things about it. So, I mean, it knows its audience, obviously, but I'll tell you what I thought, being a sort of amateur to reading books like this. Basically, it's a simple story about an ex-military guy U.S. military guy who has some trauma and has other issues, unique mental issues, who's basically so politically opinionated and all about honor and integrity, who's genuinely heroic and believes in things, and has kind of separated himself from society and is starting to live a nomadic life and feel a genuine disconnection. It's like, it almost has that like Vietnam War veteran, like born on the 4th of July, like sadness, that hard hitting reality. The character is just really well written. I don't know if Nick Petrie is a veteran. I'm imagining so. It would make a lot of sense because it just feels like it's too real. And so there's some good realism there. And just the heart and soul of the main character is really what grounds the story in another layer of realism where you actually care and things actually matter. So the story itself is really cliche, and the ending is nothing special, and overall really predictable and really boring, and I didn't care. I recognize that. For example, a cliche like, you know, the best friend of a longtime military comrade who then suddenly dies, and then he, finds his widow, and there's some chemistry between them that slowly builds, and she has a cute kid, and there's a dog, and like he just feels like an all-American boy in some ways, but like from a generation in the past, he's no longer appreciated in the present because of all of the anti-American sentiment and distraction and evil in false ideologies dominating modern Western society, not just America, but basically this really like strong silent type person that is totally believable and just so well written, and kind of in the less is more quality. Like he's not like an intellectual, but he is in the sense that he's spiritual. He's like a spiritual intellectual kind of person who's just really really earthy, and feels like in some ways you could call him like the last American, right? And so he finds out that his best friend who died was into some bad stuff, and then there's a conspiracy, and later there's some rich a-holes involved, and like, it's kind of a predictable, boring, like story that we've all seen before and seen aspects before. The reason why I'm giving it such a high rating is because it's just the areas it gets right gives it that immersiveness quality. The immersion is just really good, so that when suspense and mutual hate between the main character and the the bad guys, it starts going, and then like a western, it starts rising and it boils over. But it's in a setting that I mean, really feels like this author knows about modern true crime, and just certain characters that come in are memorable in that way because it just really the feel of it is just the way they're presented, the way they talk, all these little details really sell it, and so you're in there when it happens. It feels real and it's just really well written. It's not like the prose isn't spectacular, but it's a thriller. It doesn't need to be. So basically, I had a blast reading this. I read it really quickly. I think I read it in under a week, which for me is fast because I have too much. I always have too much going on, and I always read multiple books at the same time. So anyway, I'm definitely gonna read more books about Peter Ash. Um, and so yeah, I had one underlying pre-established bias. I really like these days, although it wasn't always that way when I was a kid. I liked unrealistic amounts of comic book action, but as I've gotten older, I tend to when I'm in the mood for action, I'm mostly like drama these days, but dramatic action that is more along the lines of when action appears in a television show like Breaking Bad, for example. This is what that reminded me of. I don't remember because I'll be honest, I finished reading this over a year ago. Basically, I was on some Reddit lists after I'd finished watching the series Breaking Bad for the first time. I kind of came to it late, and I just had this craving for a certain type of pulp. I loved the tension in Breaking Bad and suspense and all the emotions and the realism and the grittiness and the action in that show, and just the little conspiracies and the crime and the rivalries, everything about Breaking Bad, and just like the transparent character flaws mixed in there. So I looked first to other films and TV shows, and I couldn't find exactly what I was looking for, so I tried books, and I think this came up in one of the Reddit lists, and I got exactly what I was looking for. So that was really satisfying. It's the sort of action that has like a slow burn quality where, sure, you make some sacrifices, and if you really like pulp as much as I do, and the key thing that draws you to reading fiction for me is being immersed. It's being able to, you know, side note, getting up on my soapbox for a second, you've been warned, it's being able to escape in moderation, though, because too much of that is not good for you. Like, any addiction is not good for you, and I could talk about that all day, but I won't. So I'll get off my soapbox now. So basically, once in a while, there's a certain type of pulp that I really look for, which is similar to like the realism and the suspense build up and payoff in a show like Breaking Bad. This has that same edge to it, that sort of believable, gritty, criminal underworld, and just that sense of danger just feels a lot more real in the contemporary setting and the fast paced, and a little bit of realizing, empathy for people in poverty too, which is just, if you're in America or anywhere else in the world, is just an omnipresent theme that's highly relatable to just about anybody. Oh, which reminds me, sorry about the background noise, poor people problems. But anyway, and also another likable factor of the Drifter, he's living in his car, and I thought that was it's beautiful simplicity like that sometimes I call it less is more mentality or philosophy when it comes to writing. It's things like that show confidence and immerse you. Just little details. What this book lacked in amazing complexity and plot, it made up for with those charming, realistic, relatable, believable details that just really felt really grounded in real life. And if this sounds like a simple explanation to you, go try to look for good thrillers that you can actually get into. What you'll find is a lot of stuff that feels like a 90s action movie. It's fun, but it doesn't have an emotional heft to it like a show like Breaking Bad or something like this, where there's also sympathetic characters in dangerous situations, and the villains are believable even though they're cliche, and you really genuinely hate them, and the evil they do is based on reality and things that are happening in the real world. And so I found this book surprisingly better than I thought it would be. Really surprising, and just perfectly balanced, simple, great, fun, slow burn action payoff type thriller that it just kind of balanced all the bases. There wasn't any one quality that was spectacular. Like, nothing jumps out at me, like, because in my reviews that's the sort of thing I tend to talk about. If there's one quality that sort of will make you remember it the most, and if there was, for me, it would just be the main character. The main character's practicality, honesty, the honest quality I say honesty because it's like the quality that sits behind all these other areas of competence. Besides the fact of him being badass and everything, um, that's kind of what gives weight when there is badass action scenes and pulp and meaning to everything, and when characters are in danger and stuff. So really excited to read the next book. I have a copy, and then I'll tell you my thoughts on that. But I give The Drifter by Nick Petrie a 9 out of 10. Highly recommend for thriller fans, or I don't know if this could be classified as military thriller, or just action fans of the type of action I've been describing. So yeah, highly recommend. Great book.